Hey, it's John from Tinderbox Arts. I just took delivery a little while ago of this BMW R1200RT, and it's a rainy day out and I can't really do anything, but I thought I'd work on mounting a GPS. Now, I got the windshield off right now, just to ease of access and also be able to show you on camera here, but I've seen a few people online who made homemade GPS mounts for above the dash up here. Just to try to give you another view, if I can get around here. So there's our dash, right? So I want to mount the GPS up here. And there are third-party mounts available, but they're obscenely expensive. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't spend $100 and something on a mount. I can't do it. So what I want to try to do is use this screw and this screw, which go into some solid metal underneath this, and see if I can come up with a homemade mount. And simple is always better in my mind, so I'm trying to find the simplest thing I can do. So I had this, now this is not anywhere near done yet, this is just a prototype. But what I did was take a piece of angle iron, right? Actually it's aluminum, but it's angle aluminum. And I just cut it and bent it. Now I did this real rough just to give an idea if it's going to work or not, but you can see the angles there. And what I hope to do is put this just like this, put those screws down, probably with some neoprene or rubber washers underneath, and this will become my mount that I can attach a ram mount unit. So the face of this will be the mount, I'll show you that in a second, and then there'll be a little adjustable wand that comes out, and then the GPS out here. Now this isn't the exact mount, but it's the same idea. So on this side, it gives, you can plug in your GPS there and it firmly holds it in place. This is a prototype of my son when he was doing something. And I've used these before on other bikes and they work good. And on this side, don't pay attention to all this rubber here. That was an experiment that my son was doing. But this ball here, just like that, will mount on this side here, I hope. Let me pull back so you can focus. Will mount right here. And then there'll be a little extension here and another ball, and then this mount right here. Now, sorry, I got to put that down. I'll take you over to another bike here. This is also a ram mount, but just to give you the idea. So it's got the ball on this side, then this little wand right here, which you can tighten to any position you want, and then a ball on the other side. Now this is a different mount than I'm going to be using, but just to give you the idea. So I'm hoping this is going to work. So my prototype so far, really the mount is the main, or the anchor, if you want to call it that, is the main thing. So far so good. I mean, like I said, I made this real rough. It's not pretty, but as a prototype, I think it's going to work. So I'm going to work on a different copy of this and see if I can get the angles just right. All right, so this angle aluminum, it's 1/8 inch aluminum, and the piece that I cut, oh, you know what? Let's see, it's 1.5 inch wide. Each leg is 1.5 inch wide, and it's 1/8 inch thick. So the length overall is about 10 7/8. Okay. And then what I did was I made a mark on the inside here just so I know I need a minimum amount that I can use to attach the ram mount to. And so this distance from this corner inward is about 2.5 inches. Same on this side. And then I just used a paint can to mark that round area right there. You could use another method if you want. If you want to follow the, originally I followed the windshield more perfectly, and you know what, I'm not sure I care that much. So, so that gives you enough, I think, to mount the ram mount here, but also enough here that you can do some bending without too much trouble. On my prototype, I didn't leave quite enough room for the bending, so I left a little more room on this piece. So I highly recommend, though, that you, take your windshield off and try this on your bike to make sure the angles are good for you and the length is good for you. And the other thing you got to do is you got to cut off, you got to knock this corner off, otherwise it interferes with the windshield mechanism, which you don't want to do. But the prototype is, I think, enough proof of concept that I think this is going to work. So I'm going to just cut this up here. I'm just using hand saws. I have a jigsaw with a metal blade because this aluminum cuts very easily. Nothing else special that you need. You're going to need a drill to drill the hole but nothing real special. If you have a vise, it might make it easier, but you could use pliers to bend this. Pretty basic stuff. All right, just to show you what I've done, I just cut that angled aluminum, and all I did was just knock this leg off, and that leaves that. And now I just have to bend these edges, or this one leg I should say, to the right angle. Now there's really no way to tell you that on video. This prototype is a little rough here, but you can use a vise, you can use pliers, but basically I just held it up to the bike, marked it with a Sharpie where I think the bend needs to go, and then just gradually made the bend until it conformed to that plastic. And I will have some neoprene or rubber washer under there, so it doesn't have to be perfect, and then I need to knock off this corner here, and I'll probably do that before I start bending. All right, I finished the second prototype, and I think this one's going to work. The only thing I would do in the future, I made this just a little bit short, so I think my measurement initially was 10 7/8. I'd probably go 11, or maybe even 11 1/8. I mean, you need some space here between the windshield mechanism and the the mount here, so I don't want to get too close there, but I could definitely go a little bit more. So you might want to leave that long and then cut it after the fact. But I think the mount itself is going to work. Now, I haven't even really tightened this very much, but it's still plenty strong already. There's neoprene washers underneath the aluminum and the plastic, so the plastic won't scratch, so this is reversible. And obviously I'm going to clean this up and I'm going to paint it black, so it won't really even be noticeable. I just want to give you a shot before I put the windshield back on of what we're looking at here. So the only thing I would change is these screws are a little bit long, so I probably should shorten those up, either cut them or get shorter ones, so I might just do that. But anyway, proof of concept here. So the angle aluminum that I made is here. It's painted black now. It's actually still a little wet. It's tacky. I did change out these screws to longer ones. I'm not 100% sure that's necessary, but I figured what the hell. So, and then the ram mount. So here's my homemade part. Then this ball right here has its own mount, and I mounted that to my homemade part. And then this arm, this short little arm, comes from ram as well. So there's two pieces that you need there. And then the final piece is a cradle which matches your GPS or your phone, whatever you're doing, and then another ball that goes in here. So this has ultimate flexibility, and if you look from the side here, another reason why I want to do this with the windshield off. So here's my homemade thing. Here's the front of the dash, and the cradle with the ball is going to put the GPS just at the front of that dash. So that's a pretty good distance, I think. So this is working out pretty well so far. This looks pretty sturdy. I mean, if I try to push it back and forth, it's pretty sturdy. There may be some bounce on the road, but I think I'm going to be all right. So I don't have the cradle yet, but when I get all that installed, I'll give you another shot. But I wanted to show you what it looks like before the windshield is put on. All right, the rest of my parts that I needed finally came in, so now I can show you what this thing looks like. With the Garmin, this is an automotive unit. This particular one is a 57 LM, but it really doesn't matter. They make a cradle for almost any Garmin unit, or TomTom, or for whatever else you might want. So I'm going to try to sneak let me try this way. Try to sneak the camera in so you can see there's the arm there and the double ball. Maybe I can try to get a better shot there. So here's the arm. And there's a ball here and a ball on the other side. This is my homemade bracket. And on the other side, let's see if I can get in here. Right here, it's probably out of focus. There. Right here is a little knob that you turn. So you can position this thing with those double balls almost anywhere you want. I've got a position just below, but there's plenty of headroom here. So if you wanted to, mount it higher, you certainly could. And I plugged it in, so let's see what happens. Comes right up. Beautiful, so that's working good. So I'll give this a try on a ride here, but it seems pretty sturdy. I mean, it's not going anywhere. And this certainly is a hell of a lot cheaper. All in, I spent, somewhere in the range of $20 to $30 because of the ram mount that I had to buy and the cradle I had to buy. But other than that, this stuff is pretty cheap. So I think this is going to work pretty well for me.